world. Sorry, I'm trying to get my angling right. Okay, here we go. No, here we go. Okay, better. Okay, no, never mind. This is better. Okay, here we go. This is better. Okay, what is going on in the world right now? Um, I guess we're all going to die anyways. I feel like if you guys haven't seen the town hall meeting where I believe she's a senator says we're all gonna die anyways. They were fighting with her over Medicaid. I believe they're kicking around 10 million people off Medicaid. Medi- Medicaid, Medicaid, one of them. I'm not sure. And then out of no, it feels like out of nowhere because I watched the video several times and they were just like they were just like screaming and then she's like we're all gonna die anyways. And it felt like a let them eat cake moment. I don't know. I still chuckle about it because of all the things you could have said. Oh my gosh, the angling is so bad. Of all the things that you could have said, of all the things you could say, I'm trying to think because they were yelling at her, "We're gonna die," and then she's like, "We're all gonna die anyways." I felt like she could have said so many other things that could have been so much better. Let me think. Okay, let's pretend you're her. We're all gonna die. That's great. We may die someday, but this is right now and we're living. I don't know. I just know that there's so many better things to say than we're all gonna die anyways. Because that statement makes me feel like then what is the point? Because if we're all gonna go anyways, we might as well have a big party, I guess. Like one of those doomsday aliens are coming kind of parties. If that is the mentality, we're all gonna die anyways. We're all gonna die anyways. Then yeah, I feel like if that's the mindset, then you might as well have one of those big rager parties. Like a meteor is coming and it's all gonna end. Party wardy. Party wardy. That's what's up. Let's see what else is going on in the world. We're in summertime and it is raining. The sky. Let me see if I can show you the sky. Boop boop. Yeah, the sky is looking like this. Boop boop. And when I see this weather in California, the surprise gloom bloom rain, right? I am thinking about hurricane season because this reminds me of hurricane season. I remember being in Charleston, South Carolina, and it was sunny, and then whoosh, boom, skies turned like this, and it started pouring rain, and it got me thinking about hurricanes. This ties into the new FEMA guy, and he was like, I didn't even know that there's hurricane season. Listen, I'm in California where it's around 70s, 80s all year round, and I know there's a hurricane season because when I see this weather here, then when it looks like this, the humidity, the moisture's in the air. Oh my god, I can't even speak today. The moisture's in the air. Hurricane season is coming. And you know what's really crazy is that every year hurricane season gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm surprised that we're still here. I'm surprised that any of y'all that are in hurricane states get through that. I don't know, because I've lived in California my whole life, and the only thing that we really have to worry about here is our earthquakes, and earthquakes only happen every once in a while. And I always find it fun when someone that's not from California comes to California, and there's a big earthquake, and they freak out. Where I'm just like, oh, it's an earthquake. They happen. Um, yeah, that's the main thing that we have to worry about here in California are earthquakes because that's what we're. Oh, and I guess in fires. Fires is a big thing. So I guess okay. There's a question for you guys. What would you rather have? A hurricane coming towards your town or town community, or a fire on its way to your community? That's fun. Let me think about this. Okay, would I rather have a hurricane or a fire? I feel like I would rather have fire come because fire you can at least fight. You can do something about it. Hurricane, correct me if I'm wrong. Keep in mind, like I said, I'm in California. I've never been in a hurricane before. What I imagine is the only thing you can do is just board up your house and flee or go underground. Someone can inform me what is proper hurricane protocol. Because out here, what I'm imagining is you just board up your house and drive off and come back, and hopefully your house is still there. I don't know. So yeah, would you rather have a fire coming or a hurricane? Because I feel like fire, if you don't fight it, can spread. Like like the LA fire. If they didn't fight that, it would have spread through and like took down everything. Hurricane kind of has its thing, and then it dissipates, and it kind of just goes away. So yeah, what would you rather? Fire, hurricane, fire, hurricane, a hurricane fire. One great thing about the internet is that you get to see all kinds of fun things. And when you think about a fire hurricane, you don't think it exists. Like it sounds impossible, but we've seen those fire tornadoes. I know tornadoes and hurricanes are two different things, but a fire tornado is crazy. Have you guys ever seen the videos of a fire tornado? That seems like California's worst nightmare. Imagine a giant fire tornado. If the LA fire started from a fire tornado, it would have been over. You have winds plus fire. Ooh. Would have been over. Would have been over so quickly. What else is going on in the world right now? I guess I touched on it earlier. Yes, on the afternoon stream. I do kind of find it interesting that Coca-Cola is leaving, or at least they're planning to. Allegedly, let's throw it out there again. Allegedly, supposedly, they're leaving America because of the aluminum tariffs, making it impossible for them to buy aluminum cans. What do you guys think about that? Because when you think about the great old school American brands, you're thinking Coca-Cola, you think McDonald's, Ford. I don't know. But you could definitely Coca-Cola, one of the classic American brands. Like if you watch any old school war movie, it's always like they drink Coke and that's that. So it's kind of interesting to see Coca-Cola leaving. I wonder, in part of it, is it the boycott? I don't know if you guys know, but the Latino community have been slowly boycotting Coca-Cola now because of the DEI stuff, or they're And or is it because I don't know? Someone informed me about this. It's about them basically calling ICE on, I guess, on their workers or something of that nature. And I do, all I know is that they're boycotting Coca-Cola, which I noticed when I went to my local taqueria, and they have Pepsi now. They have Pepsi and they have Coke. Before they only had Coke, and now they have Pepsi. So I was like, and I was telling my wife, I was like, oh, that's because of the protesting, you know. They're not allowed to drink Coca-Cola anymore. Ooh, that's a thought. If Coca-Cola leaves, is this like a big chance for Pepsi to come in and take the market? Because Pepsi's been waiting for Coca-Cola to leave forever now. So that would be very interesting to see if Pepsi seizes the opportunity to take Coca-Cola's marketplace. Very interesting. And then, you know, some people are like, oh, you guys can move to plastic or glass bottles or whatever. They don't have to use aluminum. Listen. They cannot. Oh, actually, Coca-Cola's excuse for not going back to glass, which I find actually better for the environment overall, anyways. Because you know, if you guys don't know, plastic bottles do not actually get recycled, or the recycling process for plastic bottles is not very good. The best is actually aluminum, and then second is glass. I think glass is actually, someone can vouch for this. Which is better in the recycling world, glass or aluminum? I was under the impression that glass is actually easier to recycle. Glass is easier to recycle, but aluminum is cheaper to recycle. That's why they prefer aluminum. And plastic is, you might as well not even recycle plastic. At least that's what I was told, that they don't really recycle plastic. They just say they do. Which is also an interesting thing that goes on in California, or not in California, America in general. The other parts of the world, they separate their plastic by grade. You know, like, I know I've seen videos in China and Japan. Oh, Japan, they really do it. Where they're like plastic 1, plastic 2, plastic 3, and they separate them. I find it very funny, interesting that they do that. And in America, we're just like, here's a blue recycling bin, and you throw everything in there: cardboard, aluminum, plastic, it doesn't matter. And we'll figure that out later. So yeah, I find that very interesting. I wonder how hard it would be to educate people and get Americans to separate the plastics by their grade level. I find that super hard to believe, because we can't even get people to move to metric, which metric makes way more sense as a measuring base, instead of this whole thing where we're converting feet into inches and then you have to change it to centimeters, and oh my god, it's crazy. That makes no sense. I feel like we should all just go to metric. The reason I was told why America never moved to metric was that it was too hard to educate people. That's literally the reason why I was told why, in school at least, why Americans don't use the metric system. It's because, at least at the time that they tried, I believe they tried before, because it just didn't make any sense to, you know, none of it makes any sense. It's like 12 inches equals 1 foot, 4 feet equals a yard, a gajillion yards equal a mile. Like, none of it made any sense when metric was like 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. You know, every 10 or 100 is something else. Makes way more sense. How do we even get here? I don't even know. Oh, we're talking about bottles. Coca-Cola's reasoning why they don't want to go to glass is that they feel like it would cost more for transportation. And because, glass bottles have the potential to break and whatnot, and they would lose money. And then my thought process on that is they did it before. You could do it again. So I don't know. Coca-Cola before, in the olden days, was sold in glass bottles before, so it's possible to have a distribution system that goes all over using glass. And another fun note, in Mexico, I believe their Coca-Cola always comes in glass, but at least the ones that I always see in like taquerias, they only sell the glass Coca-Cola bottles in taquerias and whatnot. So it's totally possible for them to do glass. I don't know. It could be just an excuse for them to raise prices. Because I do feel like there's a chunk of businesses that are seeing the landscape with the tariffs, and they're like, ooh, this is an opportunity for us to raise prices. Gouge a little bit. Just a little bit, just a little taste. Just a taste. 5% here, 2% here, and they justify it by saying it's the trade war, we're increasing prices. I do feel like some companies are doing that already. How would I know this? Well, one, there's a daycare that's near where I live, and ever since maybe a few years before COVID and during COVID and after COVID, they've been raising their prices for daycare, and their excuse, the last 2 times they did really big jumps, and their excuse was rising costs. My thoughts on that is, but you guys are not tied to manufacturing or anything. Like, I don't see how a daycare. I do understand that maybe wages and whatnot go up, but most of it is a service, so I don't see how they can justify the price increase. Like, it's a big difference. It's like 20% price increases. I don't see how they can justify that kind of price increase and stating supplies. Because most of their costs, I'm assuming, of a daycare is staff. I don't know, just my thoughts there. But that's basically it. Unless there's anything else interesting going on in the world. If not, I will be back later. I gotta get in to the building behind me while it's not raining. So now's the time to go. Alright, see you later. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for spending time with me. As always, you could be scrolling through and watching a hottie body do whatever, but you spend your time with me, so thank you a lot. I mean, just to touch on that real quick, earlier I was scrolling through and I saw a hottie body literally doing almost nothing. I mean, she's not doing nothing. She's in a she's scandally dressed and she's standing in front of the camera. 5,000 concurrent viewers. Insane. And I was like, she's not doing anything. And she's getting 5,000 concurrent viewers. I'm out here trying to entertain you all. 5 viewers. It is what it is. Alright, thanks for